Welcome in, guys. Like like to introduce Josh and Cory from the Vandoliers today on Texas to Tennessee podcast with Solo Gravy. We're super fired up to have you all, and this is a little early for us, but we're excited about it. We usually don't get rolling till 8, so
Yeah.
thanks for making time for us. We really appreciate it, and maybe for some of the folks who might not be super familiar with y'all, can you give us maybe a brief backstory on kind of how the band came together, a little bit about yourselves?
My name's Josh. I play guitar and I sing. I met Cory right around the time that I had written a bunch of country songs, and I was kind of in the midst of demoing them out. And so Cory was in a bunch of cool bands like Whiskey Folk Ramblers that my old band played with a couple of times. We all hung out in the same groups in Dallas. So I just started calling my friends, whoever played music, to come over and see if they could add anything. And then at the end of it, we had our first record, Amerikinda. You'll see a theme there. And we didn't know what to do with it. So we thought we don't want to play like just like any show. We'll play a festival and see how it goes. And we played the small festival in a parking lot of a small venue in Deep Ellum. People showed up. We had a really great time, so we thought we'd do it again. And then we bought T-shirts, and then 9 years later, we're on your podcast, and we've traveled the world multiple times. It's been crazy. So it started as an idea of like bridging the gap between punk music and country music, because I didn't really see much of a difference there. They're both rebellious. They're both, party music. It's fun. And it kind of took on a life of its own. The band moved from being a small local band to being a regional band to being a national band to now we're a worldwide band. We haven't really had like a mega hit or anything, but we have this really great fan base that's just kind of been cultivated by relentless touring.
Cool. Great job. That's maybe the best synopsis I've heard in 2 minutes. So well done.
Doctor.
I was I can't remember. I think my friend Bill introduced me to your all's music, but I do know it feels like somewhere around COVID things started to kind of build up for you. Can you talk a little bit about how you were impacted by that time period?
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird because our tour schedule that we're about to go into is the exact tour schedule that we had in 2019 right before. So we went out with Lucero on a West Coast tour, and then we played with the Toadies around New Year's. And sky's the limit. We were on Bloodshot Records. We had a really cool punk rock agent on Atomic Music Group. We were about to go in and make our next record in January, February, March, like kind of intermittent. We'd start writing and stuff. And then we were in the studio in March. We were about to go to South by Southwest, and I got a call that South by Southwest was canceled and CBS wanted to do an interview. And so I'm on the phone outside of the studio, and I'm like, I'm sure everything's going to be fine. Just another bump in the road. I remember being quoted on that. And then the entire world shut down for 21 months or 18 months, whatever. We didn't tour again until 2021. And it felt like we had to start over completely. But in that time, the reason we went back out on tour was we wrote the song Every Saturday Night. We recorded it in one day. It was very I made a demo. I sent it to the boys. I was like, hey, we can't safely practice. We can't do this like we usually do. But this song's really great and I have the money to do it. So we recorded it, and it felt like not even a couple weeks later, SiriusXM had gotten a hold of it from one of our friends, and I got a call from them being like, can we play it? And we were like, yeah, I guess. It's not coming out for another, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And they're like, yeah, whatever, just can we play it? And I was like, okay. And then they did, and then we got the Rolling Stone article about it, and then it was like suddenly people wanted to see us. Because before then, we were really we were a solid opener, but when we went out on tour, we were playing so many empty rooms. And that kind of changed with every Saturday night. The rooms started having people in them, and then I felt like momentum shift. Then we moved to Red 11, which then turned into, we got Flogging Molly and Turnpike Troubadours and the Ryman, and we were out with the Silverado and Josh Walker and All 97s, and the touring just started picking up and picking up and picking up. And so from all of that that happened, later during COVID, I just thought the band was never going to be a band again. And that's how that song was written. And so, I don't know, probably as bad as anybody else felt. We couldn't do what we thought our purpose in life was, because it was no longer necessary and dangerous. And that was a hard pill to swallow. But once we were able to get back, I felt like everybody wanted to see us, versus before, I don't think anybody really cared.
Yeah. And I don't know if I understood this right, but I think, was it going into COVID that y'all had a European tour planned?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. So, yeah, we lost our label, we lost our booking agent, and we had to cancel our first European tour, like all within months. And I'm sorry I'm not being super linear here. A lot happened, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like we lost everything but our manager and the will to play. That was about it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
This is the weirdest question that I will ask today.
All right.
And it's for both of y'all, but it's a little bit of a thinker question. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you a pie, and you have to divide the pie up into 4 sections. So the 4 sections with regard to music are songwriting, recording, performing, and then the business. So if you had to divide kind of where your expertise is and where you spend your time in those 4 sections, how would you kind of divide that up?
Well, I feel like I do all of those things in capacity.
You got to do all of it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I write a lot. I was actually late to this because I was writing a song. So songwriting every day that I can. If I have the privacy to, I try to write. Otherwise, it's like lines and, babble or a journal entry or something. You said recording. With home recording, during COVID, I started recording at home all the time. So I record most of the time when I'm writing. And then, we've been in the studio a lot. I'm very passionate about it. I went to audio engineering school for it. So I really love the art of recording, but I've also been playing live since I was 12. And we play like 130 shows a year.
Right.
And then the music business, I'm kind of a nerd about. I really like being my own label, and I also really like working with other people who are brilliant in their fields. So it's been really great getting to know, for the last 20 plus years, all these different sides of the industry. And now where we're at, I focus mostly on songwriting and performing. And then when it's my time to record, I have all this stuff, and then everybody can kind of figure out what they like and what they don't like.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cory, do you naturally gravitate to one of those areas, or are you kind of equally spread over all of those 4 areas, or?
I mean, I'm not writing as much for sure, and I like to pay attention to the business stuff a little bit. Sometimes, sometimes it can be overwhelming, and it can make you lose. It can take your spark away from like wanting to play and stuff, because you're like, oh my god, I became a band, so I didn't have to do like businessy work,
Why am I
but
sifting through taxes? Yeah.
Yeah, taxes is not a fun part of the year, but it is fun to have a little bit of your thumb on everything, like merch and distribution and all the little things. You're like, even the stuff where you like try to be a little more hands off, the bigger and bigger we get, the more and more hands off we have to be. It's still like
Yeah.
interesting to kind of keep tabs on it, I would say. At the beginning, we had no team or anything. It was the 6 of us doing everything, making all of our own art, making all of our own shirts, doing all of our own van repairs. I mean, anything
booking
that
all of our
had to be
tours
done.
that
Yeah. Anything that had to be done, we did it ourselves, for better or worse. So we know how to do all of it, and it got bigger and bigger to where like, let's not do this part anymore. Let's not do this part anymore.
yeah.
Like now we have a tour manager that we've had since 2019 into 2019. Best thing we've ever done. Next thing we're going to get a driver, I think.
Yeah.
Because we're like
Also
less and
important.
less. The rotation was 6 deep at the beginning of like everyone drove 3 hours and the next guy drove 3 hours. Now it's like, I don't want to drive anymore. Now it's like 2 guys doing like a 6-hour shift and then another guy doing, and then you're back to a 6-hour shift. It's like, we should hire somebody for this.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, delegating's like, we're coming up on 10 years, so like delegating has been the best thing that I've ever experienced in a band, because I've been in bands where I had to do everything and I would be terrible at it. And then there's
Then by the
this
time you get to the show, you're burnt out and
yeah,
you're
you don't
tired.
want to do anything.
You can't put on a good show because you've been working all day.
Yeah, when we got a manager, once we started building our team, it was like we built the foundation of all this thing. We had a good idea and we make product, and somebody came out and they believed in us, and his name was Nate. And he's been our manager consistent. He's been our last manager for the last 5 years, Cory, 5 years.
At least,
We had a couple of
2018.
We had a couple of guys in the beginning that kind of got it, but didn't really get it. But once you find the people that believe in you and you find the people that gravitate towards what you're doing, then things start moving a lot easier. And it took a minute, but like once I kind of stopped, like, I used to get yelled at for going and talking to the venue owners that I talked to a million times, and they only wanted to pay me because they knew me and they didn't know my new tour manager. And it's like, I can't do that anymore. Same with like emails from other, like once we got a booking agent, all these people that call me for shows like they used to in the beginning, I can't do that anymore. I'll get fired.
Right.
So it's like, it's hard to like describe, but there is a time like now where I feel like my main focus is mostly in songwriting. Recording is part of that in my brain. And then, the performance, we're out 100+ shows a year. So I just feel like that just encompasses all of it.
Yeah, I would imagine there's a benefit to having done it all, because you can kind of keep an eye on the folks that you've put in charge to help you with the business, right? And if you hadn't done that before, it would be harder to manage that piece.
Yeah, who knows what they're talking about too. Like Cory's really great at social media management. He was he was a writer for 2 major publications. He can sniff out a good publicist or not. He can kind of tell if he has a good choice of character too. So, like as we've added to our group, all the right people have just kind of come in, and if they weren't right, they kind of fell off anyway. And that's just how the music biz is. But once you've done everything, you kind of understand, like, this is a good graphic designer, this is a bad graphic designer, this is a good booking agent, this is a bad booking agent, and you
Makes
figure
sense.
it out.
Yeah, cool.
So you mentioned some of the folks that you were touring with. That's a pretty diverse group of names there, which I'm sure you're proud of in a way, to be able to go and hop in front of all these different fans.
Yeah.
How, I don't know how to ask the question necessarily, but going like opening for Turnpike or Silverado and then going and open as the same band opening for Flogging Molly.
We were on a boat, and we had the sail away slot, which was like playing Warped Tour on a cruise ship main stage. And we were the first band. It was like Flogging Molly came out, cheers to the crowd. with a shot of whiskey. 3,000 people do a shot of whiskey. Then we come on, boom, we start playing, and we had 30 minutes. We get off the boat and we have to go straight to Kane's Ballroom to play night 1 of Turnpike's reunion, and we have 30 minutes, and we played the exact same set. On one stage, I'm opening for Face to Face and the Descendants, and on the other stage, I'm playing with Turnpike Troubadours at Kane's. And it's the same set, and I think that's kind of the beauty of our band. Like, we really just, it's a bridge, and it's like we really want to connect the piece there because there's a huge lineage of it. Like, flogging to me is exactly like what we do, which is regional music on 11. They're just doing it from an Irish culture, whereas we're doing it from a Texas culture. So with Turnpike, I feel like they are as Oklahoma as you could sound, right? And I think those are the things that really bring us together. Is these are regional sounds coming together. So you're hearing a Texas sound and an Oklahoma sound, an Irish sound and a Texas sound, a punk sound and a country sound. They kind of all, I don't know. It's fun because everybody can, you see that moment where the front row goes like, I don't know if I like this band, to I love this band. And that's the best.
Especially as a band, being proud of being able to win over those diverse crowds like that. That's got to be a cool feeling.
Yeah, it's a transfer of energy. So like there are times where you feel like the band's not connecting and it's not a great set kind of thing. But I feel like once everything's firing on all cylinders and you come out there and then they just like see a shirtless trumpet player, it's just a done deal. Once we started connecting with people and we felt that impact and we started transferring that energy between us, and it wasn't just a band playing songs, then it became something else. And I learned a lot of that by the bands that we toured with.
Well, we'll be on the poster for these shows like Bowling for Soup or whatever, and their fans will be like, "You're having a fucking country band, but what are you doing?" Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. And then we come out there and we just thrash around, and everybody goes, "Oh, okay, I get it." They think we're just gonna stand there in our cowboy hats, like, crying in our beers or whatever, but we're not that. So we try to fit in with both because we have enough of that sound where we can fit in on a country show, but we have the energy of a punk band. So it really makes sense in both settings, I think.
I really love country music. It's been a part of my life forever. I just feel like it is, it's an everyman's music. So another thing that punk and country have, they have the purists, that's not punk or that's not country. Right. And like, oh, we are just the worst enemy to those people. And it's great. Like, it's been wonderful.
That's the spirit of it.
Yeah, it's the best part.
Well,
Yeah,
another country punk garage band that I'm a huge fan of because they're locally. Talbot knows this is coming, but I'm a big Lucero fan. I'm near Memphis, so they've been around on my.
There you go.
Yeah, been nice. On my radar, for years and years and years, and they bridge that country punk sort of gap too.
Yeah.
Somehow,
yes.
They've been accepted in the Texas scene, which is, it's a really cool thing. How did that relationship start with you guys? I know you've been associated with them for a while now.
Yeah, I remember begging Ben's girlfriend to give him our first 3 songs on a burnt CD that I got like straight from the studio. It was like a board mix. I'm like, just give it to him. She never did. And then
thank God.
Yeah.
He was helping you out. Right?
But that's kind of how you hustle in a band. You're just like,
Yeah.
all right, would you please, like, you're dating Ben Nichols? Here's a CD.
I'm sure Ben's done that too. So
yeah, he won't
admit
it. He's too cool for that. But for me, anytime I saw an opportunity to kind of like get the music in front of, I tried, and unsuccessfully. And then we finally played this tattoo festival in Deep Ellum, and I think Ben was watching, and John C was watching that night, and I had said over the microphone, I was like, the only reason I'm here is so I can play in front of Lucero. I had no idea they were in front of me. And then I think about a year later, we got the tour. And then we played that same festival again, but at the exact same time on 2 different stages. So we still hadn't met. And then when we got there on the road, it was like, to me, like a college class, because their team was super tight. We had never been around anybody that successful. They were the biggest shows we played consistently. And they were like short sets. And we were in that kind of like honky tonk restaurant bar mode right there in that 2017, 2018 trying to build. So we were playing like 90-minute sets. And so it was like condensing down just to the good stuff and then getting in front of people who love to sing along, love to have a good time, and get there for the opener every time. So we went out with Lucero, and like, it changed everything. We kind of built that relationship with John C. and Brian and Ben through that tour. And then over the pandemic, John C. was he helped so much in trying to get our record out to anybody who would figure it out. He got it over to Nathan from Flogging Molly, and that's how we got the Flogging Molly bit. Another thing for me bothering my friends to get a band to come and see us, they actually did, but we had been done playing, but they came to the same bar and we hung out. And that's just kind of how the music industry kind of works. It's like you just get in front of people, do your job well, and then like don't be a jerk, and then maybe someone will call you. Like Drive By Truckers and Laura Jane Grace were at our Chicago show. 2 bands we haven't toured with yet, but I hope so. I think it'd be great.
Who's louder, you guys or Drive By Truckers? I've seen you both. They're both pretty loud shows.
We haven't played with Drive By Truckers. It'll be a duel,
Okay.
if that ever happens.
Very cool.
They have enough people with amps. I don't have an amp. Travis doesn't have an amp, but we have a trumpet.
Yeah.
So,
I don't have an amp, but
tray.
trumpet, sometimes I'll play just no mic or whatever, and I'm loud as fuck, so.
Yeah, he can't play in Germany, so.
Oh, that's
He's
true.
over the-
Yeah, they
over
have
the
like little
DB.
decimal meters. Yeah.
He's too loud.
Somebody tweeted. What did somebody tweet the other day, Josh? It was like, I saw a Vandoliers show and it was so loud I threw up or whatever.
Yeah, it was. Our tag
Or something.
right now is our tag still loudest fucking Americana band I've ever seen.
Something, yeah. Something
Nice.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. My band, The Fuss, before this band was like our shtick was just being the loudest 3-piece in town. It was deafening. And now that drummer is in our band.
Okay.
So we went once he joined the band, it got exponentially louder. Plus all the touring with the punk bands has rubbed off. So we're pretty loud.
With John C. is one of those guys that if anybody rolls through Memphis and he's around, he's usually the guy holding the drink up, yelling from the back of the room. You know what I mean? He's always the party and the nicest that can be.
He's
a lot
saint.
a lot of them are introverts. He is not. So
I think he's like half and half.
He's half and half.
I
Maybe
think
it's the alcohol.
Yeah, I think the whiskey makes him an extrovert, but yet
Okay, fair
inside
enough.
he's still an introvert.
Sure.
That band is. I'll say that band's really special because the longer you've been doing this, and we're even got to get to that level too, where like we play so many shows a year, where like you don't want to necessarily go out and watch the opener when you're the headliner because you just your ears, you need a break from that. Also, you just like you see live music all the time, so it's like less exciting to you, or you just need a little time to like eat and like calm down before the show or whatever. And that band was out in the crowd every single night of that tour watching us, and like that's crazy to me because like I mean even we don't do that as headliners, as much as we should probably. It's wild. No one does. They are really unique in that they're not too big for anyone. They're not big timer. They're just like they're a band of the people, and they're just in the crowd hanging out with their fans. And
Brian's
really
my
cool,
coffee buddy.
Vibe, yeah.
Yeah, the John C has seen me so drunk that I fell off of a chair and got me into a cab. During COVID, he was one of those guys that he would call me at like 2 a.m. and we'd talk until the sun rose because it didn't fucking matter. And he still sends me songs that I should listen to or songs that I should cover. And like him and RC from Turnpike do the same thing. And I love those dudes. Like, God bless a bass player. Tell you.
That's right.
Nathan Maxwell too. I'll throw that one in there. But
Tabo, you got one?
Yes. So you actually kind of stole my question. We probably should have pre-production this, but I've seen you open for, or I've seen you with Silverado, Lumineers, Old 97s, Toadies. And then I also saw you at the State Fair. My buddy was playing on the side stage and I got to come over, which was
nice.
Was it last year? Maybe the year before? Anyway, fun stuff. But the one thing that I find interesting is kind of how you all have culled your audience. You have everybody that I mean, they are fully bought into your band, your show. And that's not something, I mean, I'm fortunate enough that I do get out and see a decent amount of live music, but there's something different about your fans. So I don't know, maybe if you could speak a little bit to, it's, diverse in terms of age. You really have a interesting group of folks that will follow you through the fire, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's festival band, right? It's not an age demographic. We have really young fans and really old fans, and we have people in the middle too. And then we have all these people that are like punks, and then we have all these country people, yet they love each other, and it's awesome. But I think when we were starting the band, it was really about creating a culture instead of creating a brand. So like Vandoliers Forever Vandoliers is like our call. And then we had colors. We had everybody's got to get the skull shirt first. Right. If it's your first show, you get the skull shirt. After that, you can get whatever shirt you want. The show itself is very crowd participation. So think of like going to a Rocky Horror movie, where everybody's shouting at a certain time or doing certain things or anything like that. It kind of has that vibe a little bit. Really, we just wanted to build a camaraderie kind of thing. And when you go out with bands like Lucero and Flogging and Turnpike, those are sing-along crowds. Those aren't passive listeners. They're there. They know every word of every song, and they're going to sing it as loud as possible. And right now, we're in the midst of in that compound effect where 50 is turning into 100, 100 is turning into 200 kind of thing. And so the sing-alongs are getting louder.
Which is pretty wild. I'm sure that's been happening for a while for y'all. But when you see the whole crowd coming back at you, probably hard for a commoner like myself to completely understand what that's like. But how would you describe that?
It's I've always felt kind of out of place. So to me, once you've connected with that many people all over the country, all over the world, like Spain, we got to Spain and every show was sold out and they knew every word, even though they didn't speak English.
That's wild.
They were singing along to Howlin'. That was surreal. There are moments where you have to, I try to live in that moment when I'm on stage and be present for it and not let it just become a blur or just become like another Thursday or just another show kind of thing. Because I feel like when we are on stage, it's really important that we give 100% of ourselves or whatever is left. It looks different every night, I guess, but like we're always playing as hard as possible, even if there's like 12 people. And because of that, I think the fans that we do have, they've all seen us play to nobody and play just as hard as we play in front of like 7,000 people. And I think that's when they're like, they're not fucking around, and then they get into it.
Well, that being said, too, there are plenty of stories out there when it was 12 folks, and one of those 12 folks was somebody that actually could, help you along, right?
Yeah.
At some point or another. But yeah, that's cool. Speaking of howling, are you guys up for a halftime song?
Yeah.
If we play one for you?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
Great.
yeah.
Which one should we play that's out?
You guys choose.
Sink or Swim is our newest thing that's out.
Mm-hmm. Banger.
Cool.
Yeah, let's
Well,
see.
we'll get it up
There
here.
is. All right, here we go. Together we will sink or swim.
That's it.
All right, here we go. Sorry, that was Chris Knight.
It's gonna be a transition.
We're professionals here. Here we go.
Every morning I wake up with a choice. Will I cower in fear or stand and rejoice? In this moment, will I use my voice? Will I help rebuild or will I destroy? Don't be afraid, have courage, have heart. Let the truth shine a light in the dark. Together we will sink or swim forever till the bitter end.
There we go.
Hundreds of scars with purpose I lacked. Sharp in the blade, stabbed in the back. Betrayed who I was, lost all I had. You found me bleeding there in the black. Don't be afraid, have courage, have heart. Let the truth shine a light in the dark. Together we will sink or swim forever till the bitter end. We will be braver than we've ever been, and together we will sink or swim. Together we will sink or swim. Oh, take my hand and I won't let go. Oh, waves of panic crashing down, so cold, so cold. Giving me your love is attachment and greed. May I never want more than I need. Every night I promise to fight. If I see you wrong, I'll do what's right. Don't be afraid, have courage, have heart. Let the truth shine a light in the dark. Together we will sink or swim forever till the bitter end. We will be braver than we've ever been, and together we will sink or swim. Together we will sink or swim forever till the bitter end. We will be braver than we've ever been, and together we will sink or swim. Together we will sink or swim. Together we will sink or swim.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Yeah. So, where was this these singles recorded? Because I got a follow-up question to that. So.
Yeah, we were in. It's a long story. I started writing a record with this guy named Ted Hutt, who's done Lucero records and Flogging Molly records and Dropkick Murphys records and Gaslight Anthem records and Old Crow Medicine Show records. He's done everything really great that I'm very inspired by. And so I got on the phone with him when I was in Nashville on our way. We were kind of crossing paths, but didn't get to really meet up. I was like, hey, I want to write a record. And he's like, cool. Do you have any money? I was like, no. And he's like, all right. Do you have
No.
a label? I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. And I just kind of kept pestering him and I kept sending him lyrics and stuff. And we wrote some songs, and then we wrote Sink and this other song, Nobody's Fault But My Own. And then we were on our way through the West Coast, and we had a festival in Mexico. And I was like, can we squeeze in 2 days of recording before our LA show? So like leave Mexico a little early, get to LA, load in, record, and then play the show the next day. And it worked out, and we did it. And then Ted put it out on his own imprint. And it also helped us kickstart our the pre-sale for our album that we're currently working on.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So many little pieces to everything. I wish I could be like, whoa, we did it in LA. It's like, it's so much more complicated than that.
I think that was Ted. That was also Ted, like, you know, working with us for the, you know, to see if he wanted to work with us more kind of thing. Giving us like, it was like a little test run.
Yeah.
Let's do 2 songs in a day and a half. And if it goes good, then we'll figure out how to get the money to make this happen on a bigger scale. And it went really well, and we did find the money. So then we got to work with him again earlier this year.
Thank you, fans. Yeah. Yeah. It was, he was incredible. It was really great working with him. And I thought we had already hit it off on the phone and writing long distance. We ended up with about 14 songs that we worked together on all together. And yeah, he's been amazing. He's super inspiring.
I don't know. I'm probably going to steal Talbot's thunder here again, but I know we both want to make sure that it's asked. Explain to us outsiders the Kickstart program as far as how you guys use that situation. I know there's a bunch of different options, but
so we didn't use Kickstarter. I called
Right.
BJ Barham from American Aquarium, because he's the smartest person in the world.
right.
Yeah, or one of the most smartest people.
Because he's made those mistakes before.
Yeah. And like I don't know. I'm so lucky because I get to ask my record collection advice all the time. And he's one of them where I called him up. I was just like, hey, BJ, I have this opportunity to go to Sonic Ranch with Ted Hutt. I have all these songs. You know, it really helped that I had been sober for about a year. That's something that we really clicked on. And the same with Ted. So, and he knew who I was talking about. He'd been to Sonic Ranch before. So I think he kind of was like, okay. And then he just broke down how to do a pre-sale where your fans get what they want. You are not on the hook for a bunch of crazy fees. And then at the same time, you're selling records that help you on your release day and all this stuff. And it's like Kickstarter kind of has this problem where it's like, once the thing's done, there's not really anywhere for it to go. But by doing it on BJ's thing, like we've been able to take this record and put it in front of people that can really put it out. And it's been really, really great. So all of our fans got the opportunity to be a part of the record before it came out. We released Sink or Swim and Nobody's Fault through Ted, but we were like, hey, this is the producer we want to work with. Here's 2 songs that we just did. I have another batch of songs. We want to go make this other record, and we want to do it, but we don't have a label. So there were different packages where like they would get a book of songs or like all the handwritten lyrics, or they could pick a song or a skateboard or anything like that, but all things that are manageable that we can actually do. And all of it's special just for the pre-sale. So it's about like 1,000 units that are going to be completely different than what you would find in a store or when we're on tour. And I thought that was brilliant of BJ because it gives somebody something to be like, this is you couldn't get this unless you helped them before it was made, and it was really, really great.
Yeah, he does house shows or whatever that.
Yeah, and
you
we did
know,
the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that's
massive.
cool. I can see that as far as like you said that's more of an that's like getting the collector's issue of a comic book or something. You know, it is something that you can't get somewhere else, so they don't mind.
Part of the club.
And they know it's helping the band, which I'm
Yeah,
sure is another
Means a
thing.
lot.
Yeah.
there used to be things like there used to be people patrons of the arts, and it was like a title. It was like a part of like being a part of society. It's not really like that anymore, but because of our fan base, the loyalty we have, the trust that we have with our fans, and the amount of fans that we do have that will support us, it actually worked out really well. It was really great. We had the ability to go and make something really special. And we were able to put it in a place where we could take it to, the people we're about to put it out with. And they were like, it's a good job. We're not in debt. It feels we're in a really good position. Bands can't get small business loans, so this is kind of our way of being able to have credit with our fans. It's great.
Yeah, we actually, yesterday's interview, we spent a bunch of time talking about Sonic Ranch. Anything that you would like to share about that experience?
Cory, what do you think?
It was awesome because it's it's immersive. Like you live on site. They cook homemade meals for all your meals, so you're not thinking about anything. They come and do your laundry for you. Like they wait on you hand and
Cool
foot
stuff.
basically, so that like all you do all day long is make music. And
in
like
like a
the
$1 million
studios, they leave them,
studio.
Right.
yeah,
Big room.
and they leave them unlocked at all times. So like you can just go into the studio 24 hours a day, and they have like fancy toys that you can play with. And it's just like when you're there, all you are doing is making music. You're not thinking about the world in any way. If there's a distraction, they figure out a way to like get it away from you. Like they're
Yeah.
I mean, it's immersive. You are just making this record, and you can put your everything into it. So like, there's not a lot of places like that. It's you're kind of out in the desert, so there's no city distractions around you. If you're like, we need to go get some supplies, it's like, well, that's 45 minutes away to the closest place to get some, anything you need. So it's like you're not even thinking about I'm gonna go just pick up a toothbrush or whatever. It's like no, like you are there, and you're gonna stay
here,
there, and
right.
here's everything you need. And
You don't brush your
it-
teeth
it-
anymore.
yeah. No, they're like, here's a toothbrush, and now we'll get it for you. Like, I mean, they're figuring out everything. Like, it was my birthday, and they went and got a birthday cake. Like,
He chopped it up with a
you
samurai
didn't have to
sword.
think about anything, and then chopped it up with a samurai sword.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go there. I went to audio engineering school, and when I was there, everybody was talking about it. It's where really great records are made, especially for rock records. There were, like at the drive-in, Mars Volta have made big records there, but there's a lot of country bands that have made really great records there. Turnpike's Long Way from the Heart, Co Wetzel's El Paso, all the
The Whitey
Midland
Morgan
stuff.
record.
Yeah, Whitey Morgan. Yeah, it's a really wonderful place to work. I've always wanted to do it, and it took us 9 years to get to the place because we were talking about doing that. Record 2 didn't happen. Record 3 didn't happen. Record 4 certainly didn't happen. But record 5, we
There
made
you
it.
go. That's cool.
Yeah, and so when we were there, it was really, really wonderful. You are on the Stax Records board. The other studio has the board that our producer used to make one of his biggest albums. I'm playing on a 1955 Martin. It's a lot different, and it's definitely what you dream of as a musician going into that situation, especially being from a small town in Texas. Like I'm not from Nashville. I'm not from LA. I have no family there. I have no connections there. This has all been through just blind faith. and to make it to a place where some of my favorite records were created and I get to have my own record be there with my own favorite producer. It was really surreal and it was really special, and I can't thank our fans enough for giving us that experience.
Very cool. Cory, I know Josh mentioned your involvement with social media. Anything that you can share with us about kind of, I don't know, strategy? Don't necessarily need any trade secrets or anything, but I'm curious kind of how you manage that. It's obviously a big part of getting your culture and brand out there.
Say funny shit.
No strategy. Yeah, I honestly like. I kind of treat it like my personal socials, and that's only because it's like I kind of view it as like the virtual merch booth, like because we stand out by the merch booth every night, and we like to meet every fan, and like by this point we know a lot of them, so we're not meeting them, we're just hanging out a little bit, and like I said, we've been home this whole month, we didn't have any shows, so I didn't get to be at the merch booth for a month, so like that's me like standing by the virtual merch booth, like interacting with people, and like it's really neat to like not just talk about music on there, just talk about life and have other people talk about life. And I think you connect on a deeper level than it just a band. You're hearing my songs that you've heard a million times, and like we're connecting on a life level. So like, Josh was talking about, we have this fan base that's so dedicated, and a lot of them are on this Facebook group called Troublemakers VFFV. That's like been awesome. And like, that's how we funded our record, was through these fans. But the reason they're so like rabid is because like, they're not just like seeing us from afar. Like we know a lot of them by name, and we're friends with a lot of them. Like we'll go to their houses and eat dinner. Like,
John Murray comes
things.
to mind, Jim. Yeah. You get really, you get these, the Troublemaker group, you brought that up. Like, that's been massively, probably the biggest change for us. We had a fan start it for us, not because we asked her, but just because she did it. And that was awesome. And then once people started coming to it and like noticed that like you can request a song, like somebody requested a song earlier, like, can you put it on the list tomorrow? And it wasn't on the list. It's on the list now. Got a thumbs up, little heart. And like, I love it. It's my way of being able to talk to people. And it's a really good way to just kind of cut through the algorithm and get straight to your fans too.
Yeah. Nice. That's, I mean, clearly it's an extension of that culture that you're talking about, or that community that you're talking about, which is, I think, tough when, I don't know, not to slam on what other folks are doing on social media, but there is something that's a little bit unique and different and pretty cool about what you guys are doing. So,
macaroni and peanut butter.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes you gotta say stuff just to poke people a little, so they'll want to yell at you. Sometimes
I'm too
it's like,
sensitive for Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, it's like nobody's interacting with me. I'm just sitting here like tweeting into the void. No one's interacting with me, so I'll be like, you know what? Why don't I talk about putting a cast iron in the dishwasher or something?
Oh, that was so
and
good.
I'll just rile people up, and then they'll
Put
be
it
like,
out
"What
there and
the
let
fuck are you doing?" It's like, at least that way they're interacting, and then you can like pivot to a different conversation.
Yeah.
You gotta
You're like,
poke
yes,
them.
but I am playing in your town next week.
Yes.
So
Funny you mentioned it.
bring your cast iron. I'll wash it.
Nice.
I mean, as a fan, like I'm sure you've probably heard it before, but it makes a difference when artists engage with people on social media and things like that. I mean, sometimes you don't know if it's the artist or if it's their team or what the deal is. Even if you don't know the answer to that, it's still cool. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I told Steve about this the other day. It's like, I don't even know why, but Margot Price seems to like a lot of my TikTok videos, and it's like, you know what I mean?
How cool is that?
I think it's her.
It's pretty cool.
At least in my mind, it's definitely
It's her.
Yeah,
It's her.
definitely
100%.
It's her.
100%.
It's 100%. Yeah, her threads. I follow her threads, and it's unhinged. I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's great.
So yeah, the stuff like that. I mean, it
Creates a
stands out to
connection.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
it's
I saw like Shiny Ribs was talking about this the other day, where they're like, he's like, I'll comment on like a lot of people's things, and then they just won't comment back, and it's like, why? Like, why are you bothering to be on Threads or be on Twitter and like post a thing out there, and then when people respond to it, don't respond back or don't like it, or like, if I'm gonna be
It's
on Twitter and like ask a question like, do you like this or this, and then somebody like responds, and then I'm just not gonna like it or like not gonna. There are a lot of bands like that, and I don't understand that at all. Like that blows my mind. Like just dropping a
Yeah.
thing out there and then like walking away.
Yeah, I do think part of that might, I don't know, this is from a different perspective, but there's a decent amount of bots out there. So sometimes we've run into this where somebody will comment and we just assume it's a bot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, somebody followed, like from a fan's perspective, you just
Yeah,
assume it's not the person that you were, chatting with or whatever. So I don't know why people don't respond, but sometimes stuff gets lost in the sauce. So
I'm
Well,
a big.
Shiny Rib's talking about like he'll
Yeah.
respond to like a bigger band than him, and then they won't respond back. And he's like,
Oh.
"But why did you put this question out? And then if you're not going to respond to the responses, like, or why are you going to fake like you're interacting and then just like
Right.
not?
that's even worse, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Just don't interact.
Don't be on there at all." Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I want to before I know we're gonna get to the rapid fire questions here in a minute, but just doing a little bit of research in my extremely busy busy week. I noticed that you did record an album in Memphis, and
Yeah,
what's the story with that, and who did you work with?
we worked with Adam Hill at
Okay.
American Recording Studio. We were doing a couple of tours of studios in Texas and Oklahoma, and I was obsessed with that Wilco AM record. And I was like, let's go to Memphis. And we went to Memphis and we met these people who were like, we can give you our mansion. Like, we have a mansion.
They actually the ones where we kind of had a studio we were going to go to, and they were like, "Don't rule Memphis out yet until you come." And so we were like,
Oh yeah,
okay.
they invited us out. That's right.
So we went to some Memphis studios, like just because they were like, you just should see it before you make a final decision. And so we're like, fine. We took some tours, and we're like, shit, it's awesome out here and cheap.
Yeah, it was cheap. We loved that. Yeah, because the label we were on, Bloodshot, gave us like $7,000 to make a full length album. We were like, oh, okay. But I mean, at the time, we were like, this is big boy. It's our time. Let's make the big boy record. But going to Memphis, like, we found people that would work with us. We didn't find a bunch of egos. We found really great food. We found a clean place to sleep. And we got to make one of my favorite records ever. And we partied super hard the entire time. It was great.
Did you know the Lucero guys at that point, or was this before that?
We did not.
think-
That was before.
Okay.
I think this
Okay.
is kind of where that started coming, because all
Yeah.
of their friends, I mean, Memphis is small, you guys
Yeah,
know. Like, I think by us coming there, making the record, not sucking, not being jerks, word got over to the Lucero dudes. And then we were out on Bloodshot, and so that's a very alt country record label. And so I think once the Memphis record was going out on Bloodshot, that's a pretty good reason to take a band out on the road. And I think that's when Lucero hopped on board.
And you also recorded at I can't remember which album it was, but you recorded at the same studio as with Redheaded Stranger was recorded too, correct? What was
Yeah, you're starting to see like the nerdiness of me being like I want to go to a studio that has this type of
History.
stuff. Yeah, because that's where I don't get paid a lot, so it's got to be like cool, you know. And so like when we walked into Memphis, there was the Wilco AM record next to like White Blood Cells by White Stripes and like a couple other really great records. And so I was like, this is the one. And then with Audio Dallas, I we were working with John Pedigo. He was our first producer. He was pretty much the 7th member of the band at the time. And he was like, I'm working over here and it's got a really great Neve board, which is like a beautiful old, that's where those are the boards good records are made on. And I was like, oh shit. So we went over there and then I found out about the Redheaded Stranger thing and I'm like, we have to do it here.
Yep.
And we were on a label called State Fair Records, and that's kind of where they had their office. And it was just this really cool, it was a really beautiful time.
Very cool. Very cool. I had at least asked about those studios. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think I heard that that's up for sale. Is that correct?
Oh,
The
I don't
studio?
know.
I think
Uh-oh.
it is. Yeah. So
Dang.
they're selling the whole thing, apparently.
Time for another crowd fund.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm good.
It's the one over in Garland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's for sale,
That's a
or at
bummer.
least
I
it
love
was a few
Paul.
days ago. So
Oh,
Yeah, it's
no.
a really cool studio.
Well, I hope somebody buys it, and I hope they put like
Yes.
millions of dollars into it
yeah,
because it's
I hope
worth
so.
it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this is the fun part. I say it's fun. It's fun for me. I don't know if it's going to be fun for you guys, but this is the rapid fire section, and then I think Soul Gravy's got the capping question for the night. So, first off, Desert Island album. You got to take one. What is it?
Oh man. I'll say Swagger by Flogging Molly.
There you go.
I don't know how you pick just one record. Give me Pinkerton by Weezer.
Oh, okay, cool. Dinner with a historical figure, can be dead or alive.
Okay. Marcus Aurelius.
Impressive.
I don't
Strong.
know.
too.
I don't know.
FDR.
All right.
Also a good one.
Ideal green room. What must it have?
Ooh, shower,
A trash can.
laundry, trash can, a pot
They
of
never have
coffee.
fucking trash cans.
They never have fucking trash cans. A pot of coffee, which
That's
I feel
wild.
like is so low grade. Like it's the cheapest
Yeah.
possible thing you could ever have, and it would save me so much money. Yeah,
Dude,
if it
laundry
had
and
all
shower.
of those things, laundry, shower,
Game
trash
changers.
can, coffee.
All good.
I'm good.
Solid answer. I know you all have played some really amazing venues, but are there any venues out there that you go, all right, this is a bucket list venue that we'd love to play?
All the
Are you
time.
saying one that we haven't had, or one
we
that
haven't?
Yeah, maybe haven't played yet.
Okay, Corey, you.
Two, one we're about to do. It's been on the bucket list forever. Is the Caverns? We're playing there in December. One that we haven't
Very
gotten booked yet. That I think we, Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Two great
I knew you were
choices.
going to say that. I will say that I want to play the Troubadour. Really, really fucking bad. We played the Palladium in LA, which housed like riot-inducing punk shows back in the 80s and 90s. So playing there was amazing. A lot of my favorite bands had made it by playing the Palladium.
Right.
But I want to play the Troubadour. I feel like our size band in the Troubadour, butts to nuts, would be a dream come true for me.
I would fly out for that one.
For real.
Yeah.
Who are you playing the Caverns with? Do you know?
Driving
and
and crying.
crying.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. All right. Since Soul's going to steal all my questions, I'm going to steal one of his and put it put it on rapid fire. First concert you ever went to, and then the first concert that you paid to go to.
Okay.
Could be the same, but usually isn't.
I went to some. I would say my first concert was Blink-182, Bad Religion, and Phoenix TX at the Starplex. That's when I was like, I'm going to be a musician. Like,
Cool. Yeah.
I don't remember. I was little. My grandparents would always take me to see like Statler Brothers or like Oak Ridge Boys, people like that.
Uh-huh.
First concert I remember like going to and being like, I'm at a concert as a 11-year-old, like feeling like I'm an adult. It was like this a Kiss FM like radio thing, also at the Starplex. It was like Duran Duran, fucking Human League, Tag Team, Real
Ooh.
McCoy. I don't know,
Tag team.
probably 5 more
Wow.
bands than that. It was a bunch of like one-hit wonders. It was awesome though.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
All for one.
Didn't see that
20,000
coming.
people to an 11-year-old, because I was about that
Yeah.
same age. I was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And like seeing 20,000 people watching a band that is playing a guitar that looks like the one in your house, and you're just like, oh, I'll do that. I would love to do that. Yeah, and Starplex just 100%. So many great shows there.
Absolutely. All right, this one I might get different answers from y'all, but who's on your Mount Rushmore of country music?
Nice. Johnny Cash is my number one.
Waylon Jennings, probably my number one.
Marty Stewart.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's the reason the band exists in the first place.
yeah.
Oh, didn't know that. All right.
Yeah, I read
Yeah. And Dolly
Old
Parton.
97s.
All
There you go.
97s. Yeah.
There you
Oh,
go.
can
Yeah.
you? Is this an alt country?
It's
Mount
country.
Rushmore?
It's up to you.
All right.
You have editorial choice on that.
Billy Bragg. No, no. I feel like Marty Stewart, Johnny Cash, Loretta Lynn, and Dolly
yeah.
for me.
Okay, good. And then this one is slightly controversial, but tribute bands, yay or nay?
Cory was in a tribute band
Yeah.
of the Strokes.
All kinds of answers. So
Strokes.
And they
Yeah.
were better than the Strokes. I saw the Strokes
did
and
get
they
that
were
a lot.
terrible.
Fully
And
I
I
also
committed.
saw the Strokes. And
They were terrible.
well, I was about to say because they were so drunk, but then I was remembering some of our shows and we were so drunk that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm not saying we're a better band than the Strokes. I'm
No,
sure
I
if
mean,
there's a
'cause our
Vandoliers
Strokes
tribute, I'm
shows.
sure. Oh yeah. I mean, I saw Cory play in his tribute band. He played bass, and he had this little tiny bass that looked about the same size as him, which was like I thought was the coolest thing. And he's just like hopping around doing his thing, you know, not being on heroin and not being blacked
That's
out.
true, yeah.
Better band. That's just math.
That's cool. Absolutely. All right, so you ready?
But, yeah, well, I want to
Oh, here it goes.
real quick. Tell the Marty Stewart story, please. Because I'm a big Marty fan. I think he's a little bit underrated, underappreciated in the country world. I know he's extremely talented and popular, but still, I think he's underrated.
Yeah, I mean he's so good that being a country music Hall of Famer just isn't really enough for him. I saw the Marty Stewart show after my band broke up, after my punk band broke up, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I wanted to write, and I hadn't been really inspired to write more hard rock punk songs. You know, all of my songs are essentially punk songs because I will play them too fast and passionately, but really I wanted to be a better songwriter. And I came across the Marty Stewart show, and Hank 3 was on there. And I was like, Hank 3 is the worst musician on this screen right now. Like, Kenny Vaughn is playing guitar.
Yeah.
Their drummer, his name escapes me right now. But he was like the drummer for Steve Earle, and he's a great singer. And then there's Marty, who is the guitar player for Johnny Cash and the mandolin player for Earl Scruggs. And you're just like, these are the most talented people I've ever seen in my entire life. I am so inspired to just try to be that talented. There's no way, because I'm not a virtuoso, but maybe I could write a song that that person would like. And a year later, we're playing 3 sold-out shows with him in Texas. He's given me full right to record any song from Hillbilly, from the Hillbilly record. He was so nice to me. He took my wife and I on his bus. It's the magic part of this band is that any band that's ever influenced us has taken us on the road. and he was one of the first, and it's immensely grateful. Like, I think he's so great. Can't say it enough.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and he's just like cool. He's not doing anything that's popular at the moment, or trying to be trendy, or trying to do. He's just doing him.
But he's opening for Chris Stapleton in the UK to all these giant stadium shows. Like, he is, and you'll see him in a theater, and like, Lucero's the kind of band that watches you every night from the crowd. Marty stopped his sound check, came off stage, and introduced himself to us as if we didn't know, and as if we were even
Who's this guy?
remotely important enough to give, to have Marty introduce us. I learned so many things of how to be generous with time and kind from that trip, and I hope when I'm his age, I am half as cool as he is.
Very cool. I appreciate that.
Yep.
All right, so after that question and that story, this question loses its luster a little bit, but it's a requirement that I asked this because we did it on episode 1 and it as a joke, and now it is a requirement.
Cory knows how that goes.
So guys, what is your favorite Little Debbie cake?
All right. This is a good one. This is way better than Cory's question.
Sorry, Cory.
Well, Cory will ask you, have you ever shit your pants? No, Cory will ask you, have you ever shit your pants? That's his closing question. This is
That's
way
also
better.
a fair question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I live long enough to get there. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna say a snowball.
There's so many, like, there's like the Little Debbie, and then there's like the like the Hostess, and you don't know which. They all have like the same cake with a different name.
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
know which is which. Like
Snowball's Hostess.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, is it?
Like,
I don't fucking know. Like
I'm not sure. I think
No,
it might be Hostess.
I'm not. There's
We need an
there's like
official
ding
list. We
dongs.
gotta write this. Yeah.
You got like a ding dong, with you got like a ring ding, and like which I don't fucking know. Like
I'll go
which
with
one has a
peanut butter
fudge
wafer.
round?
Yeah, the peanut butter wafer. I'll say is like that's 100.
the Nutty Buddy.
100%.
Nutty
Yeah, the Nutty Buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
All right.
Solid.
Okay.
Which one does those little oatmeal cookies with the little cream? In
That's
it?
Little
The
Debbie.
Oatmeal cream.
That's Little Debbie.
An oatmeal
Yeah.
cream.
Oatmeal,
Yeah.
oatmeal
Okay.
cream.
Classic.
Yep. Good choice.
Yeah.
We've determined that the dividing line is obviously there's a Mason-Dixon line involved, but then also when you get to Texas, it kind of wavers a little bit because there is a lot of Hostess stuff floating around here.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
I said snowball because I was like, man, I know Cory's probably going to say fudge round or oatmeal, so I wanted to have something different.
Yeah,
but then
makes
but
sense.
it is Hostess. Now you see Tasty Cakes, which is like a Philly thing. That trips me out every time I see that because that was my old band. That's like all we would ever want. It was like we do one East Coast tour a year, and we'd go and get Wawa and Tasty Cakes.
Load up.
That's funny how that, because I don't know what that is, and it's because I've never been up the East Coast. You know what I mean? It's funny how I'm asking that question and stumping some people, and then I'm the one like I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Roles reverse.
Yep.
So from the Southerner.
Well, Little Debbie's way better. Hands
There
down.
you go.
So.
There you go. We're working on that sponsorship.
Yeah, we are working on that.
You hear that, Little Debbie?
sponsorship. Yeah.
All right, guys. We appreciate the time. If there's whenever you have anything coming out, make sure you you can reach out to us. We'll share and promote whatever we can. Go ahead.
Oh, I just we didn't mention that y'all do have an album coming out next summer-ish, right?
Oh,
Possibly.
We'll find out.
Okay.
There
There could be an album coming. Yeah. All right.
There's an album, and it's been made. It's now in the hands of lawyers, and I am not one of those. So I'm waiting for that.
We've delegated.
Call.
Yes.
We've done delegated.
All right.
We went to Americana Fest, and we got the full cliche moment once again, where the right person was in the crowd, and they were all like, "Fuck it, let's do it."
Nice.
And so now we're in this place where I can't wait to announce. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be incredible, but we have to just keep waiting.
Yep.
No, you
Okay.
wait.
And then the other thing that I had in my notes to mention, but I didn't, is the annual Friendsgiving show with
Yeah.
Joshua at the Kessler coming up. Anything you guys want to talk about there?
I love Joshua Ray Walker. What a
Yeah,
what a
that's-
beautiful angel of a person.
That's always one of my favorite shows of the year. We've done it, like I said, 5 years out of the last 6 or 7. It's the 5th time we've done it, and it's always amazing. All of our friends. It's kind of like because it's the day before Thanksgiving, so it's like not a lot of people from out of town will travel in for it. So it's a lot of just family and friends, and our 400 closest family and friends, and it's just a different vibe in the room. And a lot of love in the room. So it's just a different vibe. It's one of my favorite shows of the year. If you're around, if you're in town, if you're in Dallas, come to that one for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Absolutely.
Very cool.
Well, we
Very cool.
appreciate you guys taking time with us tonight, and wish you
Thank
all
you,
the best of
gentlemen.
luck. And if there's anything we can do for you, make sure and holler.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.